Reform deputy leader owes £4 million in mansion and Belgravia pad while attacking Angela Rayner's property mountain. I'm going to read into this more from Byline Times, you guys. So the exclusive reveals that Richard Tice, the MP, co-owns Buckinghamshire estate with tennis court and lake, despite his attacks on Rayner's £800,000 flat purchase. Now, yes, at the time of this recording, Angela Rayner has stepped down as the Housing Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, and Labour are right now in a reshuffle, so you won't currently hear that in this piece because of the timing of this recording. But I will say, obviously, it's hypocritical when you hear about people who have massive properties of their own while also degrading a working class woman on things that she has done. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate of whether Angela Rayner did something she was supposed to do or did not want supposed to do. If you want to make that point about Rayner in the comments, you're more than welcome to. However, this is about Richard Tice and the estates and the money that he has behind him, you know, and it's a bit rich, pun intended, for him to be talking about Angela Rayner when he has literally everything at his fingertips. It's these kinds of people in their suits and if their wealthy lifestyles do not understand what it's like to be a working class person. Angela Rayner does. Angela Rayner's been down there where she hadn't had anything, trying to get by. Richard Tice has had a silver spoon put in his mouth. He's had things handed to him to be where he is today. It's not the same thing. And we shouldn't be listening to people like him who don't know what it's like yet for people to struggle to get from A to B. They don't know what it's like. And they pretend to talk like they care. But they're only caring about enriching themselves and enriching their friends and buddies. That's all they care about. And unfortunately, too many people are not seeing through the lies of these people. So let's read more into this story, guys. So, Reform UK's Deputy Leader Richard Tice, who co-owns a second home purchase for £4 million in 2013, Byline Times can reveal. That's despite attacking Angela Rayner for supposedly owning a property mountain. Open source imagery and Land Registry data unearthed by author Guy Shrubsole and his outlet revealed that the Buckinghamshire mansion and 12,800 m2 of land around it is a lavish property complete with a tennis court, a lake, a long driveway and outbuildings. Yeah, by the way, remember, Richard Tice owns this. The property is nearly 100 miles from Tice's seat in Skegness. Tice is also listed as owning a lease flat in Belgravia, London, now believed to be worth around £1.6 million, Byline Times has found. The finding comes as Reform's largest ever conference kicks off in Birmingham this weekend. Tice's real estate portfolio contrasts with the party's recent attacks on Rayner's so-called property mounting for buying an £800,000 flat in Hove, in which the Deputy Prime Minister is now being investigated over for not paying £40,000 in stamp duty. Rayner added the property to her 3-bedroom grants and favour flat in Aberby House in central London and a £650,000 constituency home near Manchester. But Reform MP Tice also holds a substantial stakes in and remains director of at least 4 property companies, according to his registered of interest and company house records. Quicks in Capital Partners LP, Enjoy Your Retirement Limited, Tyson Investment Limited, Quadnet RIT Limited. Tice is a non-executive director at Quadnet RIT, for which he earns £10,270 for 25 hours of work a month. Yep, so, you know, this is definitely somebody that definitely affiliates with you guys. Yeah, you know, definitely affiliates with ordinary, average working class people, right? According to their website and Tice's LinkedIn, he remains CEO of Quadnet Capital Partners, which boasts that it specializes in corporate public to private transaction properties, asset management, and sourcing and executing real estate acquisitions. Speaking about Quadnet remit in March to the Times, Tice said, I control most of the business. Actually, I'd like more backbenchers to have second jobs. Yeah, because he doesn't want to do his actual job. He wants to just be able to do his job, his actual company jobs, rather than actually be an MP for his constituents, which is just what he's supposed to be doing. What's Richard Tice done as an MP for his constituents, by the way? Answers on a postcard, please. I'm still waiting for people to tell me what Nigel Farage has done for Clacton, but people still can't give me that in the comments below. Tice's house in a leafy area around Milton Keynes, Buckinghamshire, also contrasts with Reform's attempts to win working class communities. which has led to accusations of hypocrisy over his attacks on Rayner. Deputy Prime Minister has now resigned amid the allegations she avoided paying enough on stamp duty for a South Coast property. So they've managed to put this out in time for that. A Best for Britain spokesperson told Byline Times Reform tried to present themselves as men of the people, and they are all men. But the truth is, Reform's leadership is a collection of former bankers being promised by billionaires, and with Tice increasingly looking like the monopoly man. Yeah, you notice that. You notice how all the people around Nigel Farage and Reform. You notice that none of them are working class people. Does that ever cross your mind, guys? The property is not declared in his registered of interest as an MP. Oh, is it not? Tice lists nothing under land and property in his declarations, but the rules allow this to exclude property living in only by the MP or a family member. Electoral roll records suggest a relative of his at the property, so there is no suggestion that the rules have been broken. I'm sure we know. Tice and his ex-wife separated in 2019, have since divorced, and he is now in a relationship with the Telegraph writer Isabel Oakeshott, who lives in Dubai, which he visited. Ah, yes, he does. So Richard Tice technically doesn't even live here because he goes to Dubai, where his wife lives instead, with a Telegraph writer. Surely there's no conflict of interest there. A relationship with his wife who works for the Telegraph. There's definitely nothing there, guys. The revelations come after a mysterious offshore entity connected to Tice was folded months after legal campaigners at the Good Lord Project exposed its existence. Financial records for Jersey-based entity Jerry Mill Limited did not have Tice's name on them, and instead made reference to corporate directors and secretive links to an offshore trust service provider. Definitely nothing to do with Tice there, as they will say, yeah. Tice only admitted being in ultimate control of Jerry Mill after Good Lord Project showed how it loaned a large sum of money to one of its UK-based property companies. It also held shares in another firm where Tice was previously a director. Loopholes in parliamentary rules mean Tice has not had to declare anything about Jerry Mill or its investments, or indeed his Buckinghamshire mansion if a family member lives there. But, obviously he's a man of the people, isn't he? Tice also holds an unpaid directorship at Galecroft Solutions, which is in a mortgaging agreement with the Isle of Man tax haven company over a property. Tice and Reform UK were contacted for comment but have yet to reply. Meanwhile, guerrilla adverts and unauthorised light projections have targeted the Reform UK conference in Birmingham, accusing the party of working for the super rich instead of the people. Bus stop adverts spotted around the city feature Nigel Farage image alongside with the slogan, "He works for billionaires, not for you," and that this man voted to keep you on a 0-hour contract, referring Farage and other Reform UK MPs' recent vote against the Employment Rights Bill. Yeah, you remember that, right? Your work rights as a worker, they're going to be taken away from you when Reform come into government, but you obviously don't seem to care about that, do you, Reform voters? You're happy to lose your workers' rights, aren't you? Giant light projections on the Birmingham NEC Centre, where the Reform Conference is being held, read, "Tax the super rich and billionaires love Farage." Climate Resistance, the group behind the stunt, calling for the government to axe the super rich out of existence and use their extreme wealth to fund climate action. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not going to work, though, because we know that Labour are not keen to do the right thing. They're being very, very slow about all their actions there. But again, you see what the kind of asset, the kind of wealth that Richard Tice has, and a lot of people pretty much around Richard Tice, I like them too. They're all wealthy individuals, and you actually think that these wealthy individuals are actually going to benefit you. And it does a little bit of Googling, a little bit of history to see just how terrible some of these people really are. And they can say all they want on paper, but the truth is, the reality is that they're saying whatever they need to say to convince you to vote for them. And once they get into power, they're going to screw you over so many times. And all you're going to end up doing is kicking and screaming. And instead of blaming them, you're going to point the finger elsewhere, because they're going to make you say it's their fault, or it's their fault, or it's their fault, or the government are being stopped because of X, Y, and Z. They're going to continue to play the blame game. And one thing Reform UK will not do, just like the Conservatives, they will never apologise for any mistakes they cause. So no matter how much harm they bring to you, to your family, to your friends, to your life, they will never take ownership and responsibility for their own actions. So what do you guys think? What do you guys make of Richard Tice, the chairman Richard Tice and all his properties and lavish that he owns, the fact that Reform UK has all these billionaires around Nigel Farage, clearly they're not in the interest of the working people or the average person. But let me know your thoughts and more on all this down in the comments section below. If you found this video interesting and informative, hit that like button, be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media. Subscribe if you haven't too already. Check out Rumble on Patreon for exclusive content. And if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, instead of wasting your money on Reform UK, who you know will lie to you, you could become a YouTube member here for as little as 99p. Would get you access to custom emojis and early access content, which are much better perks than getting nothing for being a Reform UK supporter. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.